let's get one thing straight right now. I have beaten you. I have beaten you. And as soon as I get in the ring with you, I'm taking that back and I'll beat you too.
Step back, Tessa, step back. I got an idea. The idea I have is that all of you should take a shot at each other to get a shot at that championship belt.
You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Mr. Green, and you are listening to the rights and wrongs of pro wrestling. And what can I say? What can I tell you? WOW has finally turned itself around, has returned to, well, I guess we can't call it the airways, to the streaming services. For those of you that did not know, first off, let me just say that we actually broke the news ahead of WOW. If you can believe that. The Friday that they went out on their Facebook, like, we got big news breaking tomorrow. We was already breaking the news because I got the press release 24 hours ahead of that from CBS Viacom. I guess WOW was trying to hold out, but the fact that their unreleased episodes are now available for you to watch on CBS. No, not CBS. Sorry. On the CBS owned is what I was trying to get to. CW app. It is no longer the CW app and the CWC. They finally combined the two together. I don't know why they had two different apps to begin with. But if you are looking to see those episodes that never quite made air, it is there. Also, it is available on Pluto TV. Now, with Pluto, it's a little bit different. Gonna have to navigate a bit more to get to the shows. As of this recording, they do not have a WOW channel like a lot of people who are familiar with Pluto are used to. The WOW content is on their on-demand section, so you have to go into right there at the top where it's got live TV and on-demand. You got to click on-demand, and then you have to navigate through that and find it. So that's a whole different thing. But you know what? I'm going to get into WOW in just a second because I looked at the first episode. I looked at the, what is it, episode 21. That is where you're going to start if you're looking at new stuff. So I looked at episode 21. I want to go through that, and I'm going to continue to do that with the remainder of these podcasts. I'm going to go episode by episode, much like I did, 2 years ago. And we're going to talk about what the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all that good stuff. So, but before we do that, let's talk about some wrestling that's going on outside of the world of WOW. One of the major things that's been going on, of course, we know that Ring of Honor, as it is right now, or as we knew it, has shut down. It is on hiatus until April. But in the interim of that, several of their roster and participants and champions have shown up other places, the least of which have been, we've gotten I guess Jay Lethal's been released from his contract, so I can't really say he's a Ring of Honor face, but he's shown up at AEW. We got the Briscoes that have gone to Game Changer Wrestling, GCW, or at least participating in. Of course, they're on the independents as well. But the thing that I brought up all of that for is that Roxy, the women's champion for Ring of Honor, was on Impact Wrestling. And she has, well, I guess she's no longer the Ring of Honor women's champion. She has dropped that title to Deonna Purrazzo, who, by all accounts at this point, I guess you would have to say is somewhat of an MVP for Impact Wrestling's Knockouts division or women's division, however you want to term that. She has carried the championship for a lengthy period of time. It is not uncommon for Impact champions to venture outside of Impact to defend the titles, but she certainly has done it in a more covered venue. She's done some independence, and that's got coverage by a couple of different places. And of course, she's a Reina de Reyes champion from AAA, and she lost the Knockouts championship to Mickie James, but she's got another championship. So she is really kind of carrying herself well, and I have to say I'm a bit surprised. One thing I am also surprised about, and I know some people have been carrying on like this has been, the WWE's opened up her borders, that Knockouts women's champion, well, they started calling the Impact Knockouts World Champion now. Mickie James will participate in the Women's Royal Rumble, which will be interesting. And I know there have been some fans out there who have the old Forbidden Door. That I tell you, Tony Khan coining that phrase, we're all going to live to regret, because everybody's going to be Forbidden Door this and Forbidden Door that. But anyway, she is going to the Women's Royal Rumble, and she will participate as the acting Knockouts Women's Champion, or a contracted player for Impact Wrestling. Now, from what I understand, this is more a connection between Mickie James and the WWE rather than Impact to WWE. So I would be more impressed if a few things happen when she shows up. One, we know Mickie James is not going to win that Royal Rumble. Let's just go ahead and call that. I am pretty sure no matter how close she may get, she's probably very unlikely to walk out the winner and go to WrestleMania. So let's just bump that off of the table. But they acknowledge her as being the Impact Women's Champion or Knockouts Champion on SmackDown already. So if they do that again at the Rumble, that'd be one thing. If she gets to show up with the belt, that would be another. And I'll also be impressed if, and I'll concede to the Forbidden Door thing, if she gets to show up on their TV as the Impact Women's Champion and not to be made a fool of. If they do that, then that might be, worth saying, hey, maybe they are opening their doors. But up until that point, it is just the WWE ran short on women and they needed to fill the spots. I mean, they let go 80 people on their roster over the course of the last year. So the fact that they are running short on legitimate talent to put in that Royal Rumble and make it look good. I mean, because they can stick anybody they want to in it. But to make it look good, they have to get the top talent that they've got. And they've cut so many people. I mean, Mickie James was one of those cuts. And here she is right back in the Rumble. So, that should tell you something right there. They need bodies to fill it out. And even out of the people that they've put into it, they need, as I'm recording right now, 9 more people have to be introduced into this. The names they have so far: Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, and Belair is probably a odds-on favorite to win, by the way. Liv is going to be, it should be close. Nikki Ash, which that's hit a ceiling too. They need to just go ahead and kick that gimmick to the curb. Natalya, Shotzi, Aaliyah, Shayna Baszler, Naomi. And we know Naomi's not winning. She's got her thing with DeVille, and they pretty much already slotted Naomi as the Kofi Kingston of the Women's Rumble. get out there, do something interesting to save yourself, and move on. You know, that's what her job has become now. Tamina, Lita, which I'm sure they'll give her a little shine in there, but I doubt she's winning it. If she did, it'll be fascinating to see. Kelly, Michelle McCool, that's another one that would be fascinating to see if she won. I mean, a Michelle McCool versus Charlotte Flair match would be like fighting a mirror, in my opinion. Summer Rae, the Bella Twins, again digging into the crates to find somebody to fill out the slot. We already talked about Mickie James, the women's tag team champions, Queen Zelina and Carmella. Zelina and Carmella probably are not going to get anywhere close to winning that. Zelina's already gotten what she needed out of it. They've already given her a bone. They gave her a job back, and they gave her the crown to pacify her. I think that's pretty much all that's going to do. The 24/7 champion, Dana Brooke, and the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair, which is going to be the story of the Rumble. Can Charlotte Flair do it? Can she walk in as the champion, win the Rumble, and pick her own opponent? Which is pretty much the same type of thing that we got when Brock Lesnar entered himself at number 1. Like, I'm just going to take on everybody. I'm going to win this entire Rumble, which he didn't. But, you know, that was the story. Because he's the beast. He's the beast incarnate. And he was whooping everybody up until Drew McIntyre kicked him out of the ring. So that'll be the story. And again, like I said, there's 9 more people that to be determined. The Inspiration, formerly the Iconics, were reportedly offered spots in the Royal Rumble coming up as well. But as the report reads, they declined. Now, I don't know how true that is. This comes from Fightful Select, and they are the current reigning Knockouts Tag Team Champions, but they were released. You know, that's another case of somebody who was in the company and they let them go for whatever reasons. You know, they've classified everybody's release as budget cuts, but they certainly need somebody in there now. We got to get them back in here so we can fill up these spots and make it look good. But as far as Fightful has reported, they've learned that they were offered spots in the Rumble, but they turned it down because they did not feel it was the right time for them to make a WWE return in any capacity. And reportedly are happy with their current path. So, although reached out to, apparently they will not be making the return to WWE land. So, maybe they can reach out to some of those other ladies that they let go for, you know, a variety of reasons. You know, Mia Yim or Nia Jax. I was going to say Toni Storm, but they didn't let her go. She quit, which is fascinating. You know, I have to say, I love that if anybody is able to just get one over on the WWE like that, I love it. Not that I have an issue with the WWE, mind you. It's just that, you know, they're able to hire and fire as much and callously as they please. So, you know, why not have one of their talents be able to say, you know what, I don't want to do this no more, and just leave. Now, that might work against her, and I don't know if that's something that WWE would want to even fight against, because they've always classified everybody that they got as independent contractors. But the independent contractors that have to do what we tell them to do, when we tell them to do it, and how we tell them to do it. So that kind of defeats the purpose, and I'm not sure if they want to go into a courtroom trying to fight that fight about what this contract means and, you know, whether I'm an independent contractor or not. They may just let Toni Storm do what she's going to do. And for that matter, off topic a little bit, I know Mustafa Ali just asked for his release. He probably should have just did what she did. Just say, you know what, I ain't coming. I quit. And the only thing that's going to stop them, you know, you'll be in breach and you probably won't get the money that they would have continued to pay you until they, until your contract rolls out. But nope. I guess she just decided to up and dip on out of there. So I doubt that we're going to see Toni Storm in the Rumble. If she does pop up, that would be amazing. That would be surprising. But time will tell. Getting back to WoW. I guess we have to talk about WoW and their programming and all that good stuff. As it is right now, there are 11 unaired episodes. So these are the people who didn't, for you out there who are not all that familiar with what WoW was doing and how they did it, but you're kind of familiar with it. The beginning of 2020, they shot clearly a bunch of episodes. A bunch of episodes that they never got the chance to air. They never got a chance to air them for one or two reasons. One, the pandemic did kick into full gear at that point, and I mean that really wouldn't stop them from airing it. It stopped them from producing more, but that was one big issue. The second issue is that AXS-TV was acquired by Anthem Entertainment, and Anthem owns Impact Wrestling, and at that point, they didn't want anything else on their network that was not working with Impact Wrestling. And as it was, WoW got cut. They got canceled. Fast forward now, what are we, 2 years down the line, and they have, begun to pop back up. I mean, for all intents and purposes, WoW will not air until the fall of 2022, which, right around the corner of 2023. So, I mean, they're going to be pushing from their last air date, which was in 2019. They're going to be pushing 3 years since people have watched them last with any new content, excluding right now, that is. So if you are interested, as I said at the beginning, you can see their episodes, the unaired episodes on the CW app. Easy to find on there. A little less easy, but you can still find it on Pluto TV on the on-demand section. You just have to search for that, and it's there. Be aware that some of those thumbnails may provide spoilers of some sort. I mean, I don't know how much you want to know. I mean, because this is all old content. This is all old content, and that's going to be the next thing that's going to be kind of thought about here. It's like, how much of this content is outdated? I'm sure they've edited it as much as they can to try to make it still present well, and it did, for the show that I watched. But how much of this is going to be just out-of-date content? That's what I'm kind of waiting to see, how this will play in. Never mind the fact that Tessa Blanchard is still there, because Tessa is, as far as they're concerned, the reward that she offers is worth the risk. And WoW is not a big enough fish. They're just not. If this was a bigger company, a larger company, a more notable company, Tessa probably wouldn't be there right now because they would not want to deal with the heat. As it is, they don't care. They don't care what Tessa is alleged to have done. I know emails have gone out. I'll say this from an unnamed source that has basically said that they were told not to address it. Not to address anything as it relates to Tessa Blanchard. Just let that slide. So they clearly are aware of whatever it is, that Tessa is accused of. It's just not as big of a deal for them to bother doing anything about it, other than make a t-shirt, because they did make a t-shirt from it. It's like Tessa Blanchard nuclear heat or something like that. So they know. They know, and they just do not care, and they're trying to make a dime off of it. So that's a little bit suspect for me. I mean, I'm somewhat disappointed in that, but I also cannot expect anything less from WoW at this stage. And before I go into the full review of WoW, I do want to clarify another thing that has been brought to my attention. I was engaging in conversation in one of the forums with somebody who's talking about WoW, and I think that there's some people who still have a little bit of the information that WoW has passed out publicly misconstrued. So I wanted to take a moment here, just a little bit of time to try to clear that up. One, some people have read it being, distributed by CBS, Viacom CBS, and took that as, okay, WoW is now going to air on CBS. From everything that they've said in the press release, they will not be airing on CBS proper. They will not be airing on the network CBS channel. What they will be doing until some other change takes place is they will be airing on CBS and Sinclair-owned stations. That is a little bit different than airing on the CBS network. This will be their own syndicated network, and I think from the reports, they're going to be, 160 stations across the country. It's probably 70% of the market. So they will be on TV. And they are clearly, connected directly with Viacom and CBS. That's the whole business relationship that they have. But they will be syndicating that program to a variety of stations across the country, airing on the weekends starting in September 2022. That is the first thing. So for those who thought, oh yeah, it's going to pop up on CBS and you'll be able to tune in like Thursday night at 8. No, I don't think that'll be the case. It's going to be more of a case of you probably need to Google it and find the time in your individual market if it is airing in your individual market. That's going to be the other thing. They got a lot of ground and they're covering a lot of stations, but it's not going to cover every station. So you probably need to check and see. You most likely you'll have it rather than not, but you're going to have to check and see when and where that's going to be popping up. The other thing that I wanted to address there was a little bit more of a personal statement that the guy I was talking to, and I won't say his name. If you're watching this, I may put the comment up on the screen. But the response that I was given once I clarified, what they were doing and that their syndications and whatnot, is that his answer to me was this, which is huge, and it'll put them right up there with WWE and AEW. Okay. This is a big deal for WoW. Let's not mistake that. It is a big deal for WoW. It is going to put them in a lot of homes. It is going to bring them back on television for like the 4th time out of hiatus. And they will be able to resume WoW pretty much like nothing happened. However, this will not put them on the same level, or as he put it, right up there with WWE and AEW. No, it won't. It is a big thing for them, and it's going to give them a lot of coverage, and they seemingly have a good partner with CBS, but they are not on the same level as WWE or AEW until they start forking out contracts for these girls to be making up towards $500,000 a year to be wrestling. No, until they start running shows all year long rather than treating it like a TV show and running in seasons. No, until they start doing pay-per-view or what the WWE calls now premium events. No. Until they line these girls up into contracts where you're working for them and them alone. No. I mean, there's any number of things that's probably going to separate them until they have a syndication rights deal or a licensing fee deal with CBS or some other network where they're going to pay them millions of dollars easily to do what they're doing. No. Now, granted, WoW does not have to release their financial statements. They do not need to disclose what kind of money they're making off of CBS. If any, I mean, I'm sure they are making it, but they don't have to disclose that. But I would be hard pressed to believe that is anything close to what, say, AEW is doing, because I think what are they up to, like a $50 million deal or something like that. And they're on a major cable outlet. Both networks are on major cable outlets. Their coverage is unquestionable. You got AEW on the Turner networks. They just moved to TBS off of TNT. So, and they get to go back to TNT for specials here and there. And this is the point. I was like, now it doesn't even require you to have cable to be able to watch them. You can just pick it up off of antenna, which is, again, for them, that's a big deal. And that station goes everywhere. It is not syndicated. When they say it comes on at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. on TBS, it's 9 p.m. by and large across the country, unless you're on the West Coast, and then you probably look at it at 6, but you get the point. Same thing with WWE. USA Network, Fox, you can pick this up off of antenna, or USA, you can get it off of cable, but they are on a major cable outlet. I'm not knocking WOW. WOW, them getting this is a big deal for them. And it may be the thing that turns that company around. I certainly hope. I mean, they've made minor changes as the years have gone on. I hope they make some bigger changes. Maybe they need to just stop taking these breaks and hiatuses, because it doesn't seem to work out for them. It seems like it just lends them the opportunity to go into limbo like they just did. But no, good for them, but not on the level of WWE and AEW. Those two companies are giants. They are far and away, the biggest game in the wrestling landscape. I'm not even sure if they would be on the same level as Impact. They'd probably be on par with them at this point, or maybe, they got a better deal than the NWA does. That's for certain. At least they have TV. The NWA is on YouTube still. So, they're far from being the worst deal of television out there, but I don't think they're the best. They're somewhere in the middle ground. Anyhow, so let's start here. For those that have begun watching the show, I hope that you will tune into this along with me and leave your opinions about the show, what you thought it was good, bad, what you liked, what you didn't like. Episode 21, of course, opens up with the same thing. They did a little opening video package where they recapped everything. Now, judging from the video package, this is everything that I thought that they were probably looking to come back from their TV hiatus with. I mean, when they were still on AXS-TV. That didn't happen, so, here we are. It starts off with pumping up the WOW universe. I mean, they don't call themselves that, but that's what I'm saying, and they're welcome to WOW, same thing that Dave McClain does all the time. And we got the opening segment, we got a starting interview with Dave McClain. Correction. He's starting off interviewing the Beast, starting off interviewing the champion. Tessa Blanchard is the first one that comes out. She interrupts, and you know where this is going. Tessa Blanchard's that you got lucky, yada yada yada. All that. Just give me another chance. I'll beat you for the title. Sophia Lopez comes out at Tessa's behest because she is supposed to be now her attorney. But when Sophia comes out, she says that Tessa, you didn't read the fine print. Yes, she's representing her, but she's also representing somebody else, and she brings out Serpentine. For those who don't know, Serpentine is Thunder Rosa, who is largely engaged with AEW right now, so I question what her future with WOW will be at this point. But that's a whole different issue. After that, the legend of WOW comes out, Jungle Girl. And they treated her as such. I have to give the commentators credit. They kind of pumped up Jungle Girl, as she should be. And her promo pumped her up. She, the whole deal about, I deserve a title shot. I've been with this company for 20 years. Now, granted, and she hasn't been with that company straight for 20 years, but every incarnation of WoW that has existed, she's been there. And so it makes sense. And that's why I've always said that they should give her that spot. She should have the Terry Funk spot that he had in ECW. She should be the legend of the promotion. And it seems like she's kind of in that slot. The Beast, more or less, we moved this ahead. The Beast clears the ring. Puts out Tessa Blanchard, double spears, Serpentine and Jungle Girl. And then McLean makes the match. He makes the match after, of course, all three of them are pleading their, well, I wouldn't say pleading their case, arguing their case. But McLean makes the match. It's a triple threat match in the main event for the number one contendership to the WoW Championship, which, of course, they refer to as the WoW World Title. The second segment 2, Princess Aussie and Voodoo, the Siren, the Voodoo Queen, or whatever. Nina Monet is what I know her as. But we'll call her Siren. Siren is giving her a talking. And all of this vignette shows Princess Aussie is continuing to be controlled. This is one of those moments where it's like, all right, I haven't seen this show in 2 years. So I think that's what's going on. It's been so long since I caught what caused this and what led into it and all that stuff like that. So it's a little difficult, but I do remember that Ozzy had an issue to some degree with Siren and Holiday, and that she was being kind of roped into their web, so to speak. So it still tells the same story that she's being controlled. The next segment 3, is a recap of Fire and Adrenaline meeting and winning the tag team championships. How they met in the ring, of course, as far as the WoW television is concerned, and them declaring themselves going into the tournament, them going all the way through the tournament, winning the championships. And then it sets up the challenge of them against the Psycho Sisters. Now, I was fully prepared to say that, okay, they skipped over something because they didn't address Exile that jumped them after they won the titles in the package. However, the commentator did bring it up, so it was a good save. I thought it should have been in the, well, no, actually, it shouldn't have been in the package because the package was there to set up Fire and Adrenaline taking on the Psycho Sisters, the very team that caused them to get together in the first place. So I thought that was a nice touch, and the fact that, the commentator brought it up to make sure that, hey, we're covering all the bases here, and that we know that the champions got issues with two different groups right now. They got issues with the Psycho Sisters. They got issues with Exile. So we go into segment 4, which is the match. Fire and Adrenaline versus Psycho Sisters. Now, I'm not going to sit here and call the match move for move. I will say that the sisters tried to jump them at the start, but the champions were able to turn the tide. Even through this is one of the complaints I had from back in the original review of the show. Mesmera is still a non-factor. Why is she there? Maybe as this goes on, she'll pop up and she'll do something, but I don't see what's the point in having this third person there. If she's going to be a manager, just let her be a manager. But they keep referring to her like she's some intricate part of the team, and I haven't seen that. Like the one time that she was in the ring, it was very brief, and it looked like it was super edited. So I don't get where this is going. Every time it's been the Psycho Sisters, it's been the experienced pair. It's been Sarah the Rebel, and it's been Harlow, which we know is Fury and Spike on here. So the sisters get the heat on Fire, who we know is Kiera Hogan, who's in NWA right now and AEW. So who knows? Considering that she's kind of a freebie, she may pop back up and wow, I don't know. As they're doing that, the second that Fire is able to get free and she makes the tag off to a partner, Adrenaline, Exile comes and attacks the champions again. So we got a brawl on the outside. with Exile against the tag team champions. Meanwhile, the Psycho Sisters are now attacked by Siren Holiday and Princess Aussie. So we got two new branch offs of two new feuds happening. Which one is supposed to be the baby faces in the Psycho Sisters and the Siren Holiday and Princess Aussie thing? I don't know. Because by all accounts, Holiday, Siren, they have portrayed themselves as heels. They have kidnapped and converted somebody, which is a heel action. And now they're attacking the Psycho Sisters, who are heels also. So I don't know where that's going. That's been one of the things that, I've never really quite understood with WoW. Sometimes they don't make the lanes clear. So, but anyway, we have that. And I almost didn't even remember what the deal is between the Psycho Sisters and Siren Holiday and Ozzy. It's been so long. It's another case of this huge gap between programs or between episodes makes it difficult to. Yeah, I could go back and I could look through all. But I have to look through the entire thing, and I don't want to. So. And I'm sure I'm not the only person. I'm sure there's other people out there that's watched those episodes already who just like, hey, I would just want to watch the new stuff. So, yes, you can go back and look at it. It's all there for you to watch. But I have very vague recollection as to what brought this brawl on to begin with, or the issues between these two teams. So maybe that'll clarify as I catch more. Segment 5. Jesse Jones and Amber O'Neal are heading to the dressing room, and as they are going in, this is a backstage vignette. We see Amber sees their dressing room sign tagged with Beverly Hillbillies, and Amber knows that Lana Starr did it, her former manager, and it bothers her. Jesse, on the other hand, is not bothered by it at all. She's like, hey, I love that show. And, first off, you shouldn't be letting her get into your head with the Bullet Babe. And I'm surprised they even bring that up, which is also another dated reference because she doesn't go by that much anymore. But the Bullet Babe, would you let that bother you? Come on, let's just go do what we need to do. They was getting ready for a match. So Jesse walks off, but Amber looks at the sign, and then she looks at her clothes, and then she looks, at the sign again, and she kind of slunks off, and her body language says that she has a problem with it. I actually like this segment, but because I like both of them, and I thought they did a fine job. I think they're two of the unsung heroes of WoW in terms of their wrestling. And one other thing I have to say is that as it is right now, when you look at the matches that they had, because we've had Fire and Adrenaline versus the Psycho Sisters, we're walking into Jesse Jones and Amber O'Neal taking on Sassy Massey and Chantilla Chella. It's been all indie girls who know what they're doing. Very few WoW originals in this episode. Like with this episode, they were able to hit the ground running. And this is another tag team match. We can see that they're having a pretty good run. A lot less cuts that they do, like they do with some of the inexperienced girls. I still don't like the editing process where they cut on every throw and every punch and this and that. But it's worse when they have somebody in there that they got to cover up for. They did not have to cover up for these four. They knew what they were doing. And it's just an artistic choice at this point. It's like they're trying to make it look cinematic and something that probably shouldn't be, but, that's neither here nor there. The end result is that Jesse Jones taps out Chella. This match is the first visible sign of sound sweetener and dated references. Yes, they've had some dated stuff throughout the show, but her coming out there doing her "I'm gonna make wrestling great again" and stuff. That was more relevant when the show was airing because of the political landscape at the time. But now that's changed, and it was like the make wrestling great again. Yeah, I guess she could use it. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does date the program a little bit. It's just it'd be like somebody coming on TV doing "Where's the Beef?" That's from a dated thing from the 80s. Like if you would doing some kickoff version of it, it might be entertaining, but it's never going to be as relevant as it was when they were doing it at the time and everybody knew it. This is now a dated term. And hopefully when they come back, because they can't do anything about it now, they will move on from that. Segment 7, we got the Lioness with Lana Starr as a manager coming out to take on Raina Reyes. This is set up as a competitive wrestling match. I would almost say very Ring of Honor-like, where they didn't start off with like, hey, this is a handshake of honor and stuff. I mean, one of the commentators did say something like that, the code of, a handshake of honor. So we knew what the reference was. But the match was a move and counter move match from the start, illustrating the fact that these two women are skilled and somewhat evenly matched. Very entertaining. More so entertaining the fact that Faith the Lioness was pretty much just getting started in wrestling at this point. She might have been a year or two in, but she didn't have the wrestling pedigree that the previous talents that have been on this show have had. So the fact that she was, able to do and keep up with was impressive. And I said in those previous reviews, she's a good enough girl to where that if she works with people that are better than her, she will get better. That now has proven to be true because she signed with WWE. She has gone on. So I don't expect that we're going to see Faith the Lioness in any future episodes of WoW, regardless of what open doors WoW may have, unless she gets released or something like that. But as it is right now, she is on WWE television, and I do not expect her to reappear anytime soon. Reyes, at one point in the match, looked like she might have missed a move, taking her off the top rope, I believe, but she was so smooth and how she did it, it didn't even make a difference. That's what, I would say professional wrestling, but that's what, experienced wrestlers are able to do. She was able to take something that was, might have been a screw up. You watch it and judge for yourself. But, she took something that might have been a screw up and she was able to just convert that and just keep on going. No problems. Reyes wins with a super kick when the Lioness refuses to take Lana's mirror. Lana got up on the apron and she wanted her to smack her in the head with a mirror like Lana Starr does. But she did not want to do that. She refused to cheat. And that, at that point, I guess, cost her the match. She took a super kick in the mouth and then bam, that was it. Now, afterwards, we got Lana, who decided to come in and smack her being Reyes in the head anyway, because she was upset with her protege not listening to her. Do what I tell you to do, that type of thing. So she goes in, she takes the mirror, smacks in the head, Reyes in the head anyway, and pretty much takes the Lioness by the hand and drags her out of the ring. Come with me, and you can see the disappointment on the Lioness' face, and that sets up the story that there may be dissension in the ranks, that she may not have the control over Faith the Lioness as she did. And, I think they just changed her to just being the Lioness rather than Faith the Lioness. They kind of pulled that down. So that was another story that was kicking into play with that. What was it, segment 8? This sets. Wait. Let me rewind that because there was one question that I had when I looked at this match. It's not so much that Faith did not want to cheat, but if she didn't want to cheat and she's with Lana, why is she with Lana in the first place? That was the one part of it that got me, because I don't think that ever was answered. It wasn't answered in the previous season. It hasn't been answered now. Faith comes across like she is a baby face, and she doesn't want to do anything that's going to, go against the grain of the rules. Lana has been in that company, and she has never been babyface. She's been a clear heel. And yes, the commentators try to make it sound like, well, it's been the lights, the sights, the sounds of Hollywood, and she kind of lured her in and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, but this is a grown woman. She didn't have the ability to tell her, no, I don't want to do that. What is it that Lana Star has that is making her obey her order? That's what I want to know. The match itself is fine. The angle that they're portraying is fine. But where is this going, and why is this happening? Why is the Lioness enthralled with Lana? What does Lana have that is making her like, oh, yeah, well, I know I don't want to do this, but I have to anyway? Why? What reason? What does she have to gain off of this? So, that's something I think they should answer. Segment 8 is the setup for the 3-way main event. One thing you can say about WoW is that their vignettes to set up the next thing look great. Very cinematic. And so we go to segment 9, the main event. Lopez is announced to be the special guest commentator because she has interest in the match with Tessa Blanchard and Serpentine, respectively. The commentators acknowledge that. She sits down at the commentating table as Serpentine, Tessa Blanchard, and Jungle Girl come out to the ring. This match was high impact. If there's a match to watch through this entire episode, this is the one that you should look at. It only reminds me how good Jungle Girl is. I try to set whatever issues that Tessa Blanchard may have to the side so I can just enjoy her for the match and not her potential bullying / racial slurs. So I watched this, and like I said, it was pretty well high impact. Jungle Girl is still, as of that footage, keeping a high pace with her younger contemporaries. But it came down to this. Jungle Girl put Serpentine down and was preparing for the Jungle Girl splash. Sophia Lopez gets up from the commentating table just a little bit before this and gets Tessa Blanchard's attention, gives her briefcase so that she could intervene. While the referee is distracted, Blanchard smacks Jungle Girl across the back with the briefcase, but she is unable to get in for the cover for some reason, and Serpentine is able to roll over and do it. I know what they were trying to go with was after the smack went down, Sophia Lopez, because this happened, you can see it a little bit off camera. Lopez kind of prevents Tessa from getting in, like holding her up, like holding her by the wrist, like no, don't get in, stuff like that. While Tessa's saying, "Let me go, so I can get in the ring." So it's clear that that was set up, and she was, doing it so Serpentine could get the number 1 contender spot, but I didn't see where Tessa would have not been able to throw that thing down and just shoot into the ring if she really wanted to move fast. But apparently she didn't do it. And the story there is that Sophia Lopez kind of set her up for failure. She set her up. She got Tessa to do what she wanted her to do. Positioned Jungle Girl into a bad spot, which allowed Serpentine to score the win. And now Serpentine is now the number one contender, and she will be in the ring with the Beast as the next challenger, which I don't expect her to win. I didn't watch the match, but I don't expect her to win it. What I do expect is that the Beast, and I'm saying this having not watched any of it, I'm expecting that the Beast is going to be lined up with all pros going forward as the champion. Anybody that can step into that ring with her that's going to make her look good, that's who she's going to get put in there. And Thunder Rosa is probably as good as anybody else. She definitely has the ability to walk her through that match and get her to look as dominant and as good as she could possibly be. But that was the entire match. The entire show. That was episode 21. The first unreleased episode, and we got probably about 9 more to go. So I'm going to keep going down the line. I'm going to watch these shows and see what it is, see what's up to date, see what's not, see who I think comes back, see who won't. And then, by that time, maybe we'll be ready for the Wild to come around in September and see what kind of leaps and bounds they will make, because I'm sure they're going to have to make another jump in order to accommodate what their current situation happens to be. If you are listening to this on YouTube, thank you very much. Down below is a link for our Teespring store. If you want to support the show, please click the link and check it out. If you are checking this any other place, you can go to WPNWrestling.com and check out our stores or our PayPal if you just want to support that way. It is doing those things that helps allow us to get the matches in that we've gotten. Of course, COVID and the lack of some of our working partners have hurt that quite a bit. I mean, man, it's hurt a lot of people, and the least of which, some of our wrestling buddies. So shouts out to them for, trying to stick it out and hang in there even against the odds. I hope they're able to come back soon. But when and where that happens, if you want to support that and you want to get some more matches in the WPN Pantheon or archives, please go and purchase a shirt, drop us a line, share the video, share the audio. All the support that you provide with our programs helps. It always has, always will. And I definitely appreciate that. Remember, again, WPNWrestling.com. You can find us on, all the links are right there on the website. And I know a couple of y'all have been going in and calling the ads that have been running through the show. So thank you for that. That is also another way that you can support, because those spots that those advertisers stick onto our stream on the website, when they hear from you and they ask where you got it from, and you tell them the Women's Pro Wrestling Network site, it definitely turns around and kicks back to us. They do turn around and offer up a little percentage of what they've gotten in terms of calls or inquiries. So I don't know who you are because they don't disclose the names, but for those of you that have done it, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. It helps out quite a bit. And with that, man, I want to say thanks for listening to this episode. And go and check it out. Go and check out the WoW episode. Let me know what you think in the comments below, wherever you happen to be. I would love to hear what you thought about the show. Did you think that the matches were good? I thought they were pretty good myself. But I also, like I said, every match that I saw, they pretty much had working girls in there. They weren't just the wild superheroes. They were girls that knew what they were doing. And I think that that accounts for a lot, which probably also explains why the next batch of girls they hired straight off the independents and not try to train anybody from scratch. But that's another story for another day. So with that, folks, I will say that this is Mr. Green saying that this is Mr. Green saying so long, and we will see you on the next go-round.
Thank you for listening to the WPN's Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling. If you have questions or comments, please contact us via our Facebook or our YouTube channel at the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. If you're new to the WPN, feel free to subscribe to our channel and like our page. We appreciate your support. Thank you again for listening.